Your committee must ensure that the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, DCI, those who are in charge of economic crimes, take action against specific officers at the defunct end. Otherwise, we normalize corruption, we normalize theft, and it becomes normal for people to just steal and pilfer public funds and walk away scot-free. You can see some of those characters, the former CEO of NHIF, is all over now pretending to be running for a governor's seat. How can you be running to be a governor in the county of Nakuru on pilfered funds, Honorable Speaker? And we must not use elective public office as a laundromat or as a laundry for laundering or cleaning people who have pilfered public funds. The former CEO, National Health Insurance Fund, must answer to these issues, Honorable Wanjala, and you must ensure through the Committee on Implementation that that former CEO, Jeff Mwangi, does answer to this kind of outright theft of public resources, Honorable Speaker. We must not allow criminals to get away scot-free, then run for public office to hide behind public office, Honorable Speaker. And when you are arrested, you start now crying, oh, I'm being arrested because of politics. There is nothing political when you pilfer public funds. How do you go and construct a car park at 300% of its original cost? And to make what matters worse, Honorable Speaker, you escalate the costs and still don't complete the building. If you go to that building, Honorable Speaker, lifts that were to be installed to make it functional, because you cannot park on the level 3 basement and your office is on the 17th floor and you're expected to climb up on the lifts as much as you want to live healthy. And Honorable Speaker, that building today has no functional lifts. No wonder, and you will see from the committee's report, Honorable Wanjala, that car park is underutilized. It's only being utilized at the level of 20%. Yet we have sunk billions, Honorable Speaker. And we want to say that this house should allow people to just walk away scot-free? We must not allow it to happen, Honorable Speaker. And we must make sure, and that is why I'm challenging the Honorable Raphael Wanjala, to make sure that those culprits, especially those known criminals at the defunct NHIF, are brought to book. Honorable Speaker, I hear the Honorable Raphael Wanjala saying he's taken up the challenge. I hope we will see people in court.
I just want to confirm that whatever he has said is not on record at all. So continue, Honorable Leader of Majority.
I hope he will have an opportunity to speak to these issues so that he not only says in his position that he has taken up a challenge, but confirm to the House that he will ensure these people face their day in court. Honorable Speaker, again, if you read that report, the issue of pending bills at the National Hospital Insurance Fund is a sticking issue, and the chair of the Health Committee, the Honorable Dr. Nyikal, will tell you. Many of the issues that you hear with private hospitals today, with mission hospitals, with public hospitals, are issues that emanate from the defunct NHIF. Because people are accustomed, Honorable Speaker, to faking bills and getting money from the defunct NHIF. And you've had stories, Honorable Speaker, where people had amputations on the same leg 3 times. And you wonder, how do you have the same right leg amputated the first time, the second time? The member for Suba South is saying that it is possible to amputate from below the knee, then above the knee, then at the hip, the same leg. But Honorable Speaker, you know it was outright theft. And these are some of the issues, Honorable Speaker, and I want to challenge again the committee to ensure that in line with the recommendation that they have put, that now the Social Health Authority that has taken up the work of the defunct NHIF moves with speed to ensure that they quickly verify all the bills that are owed to public and private hospitals in the country, so that those that are payable are paid. Those are not payable are not paid. And not just not paying, they must also ensure that those who have lodged fake claims to the defunct NHIF are also brought to book. Because that is the only way, Honorable Speaker, to end this pilferage of public resources, Honorable Speaker. When you steal from the sick, Honorable Speaker, I mean, you don't even deserve to be living if you are stealing from the sick. And you've seen people stealing from NHIF money that belongs to patients, Honorable Speaker. And I want to plead with the committee that if and when we adopt this report, the Committee on Implementation again takes up this matter with NHIF or SHA to ensure that this matter is closed so that the bills that are payable. I have seen a number of mission hospitals saying we are owed so many billions by SHA, and what they are carrying forward is the bills that came from NHIF, Honorable Speaker. And I remember one case in the recent past, I think it was a bishop in Kakamega, who had to unfortunately eat his own words when he said that the St. Mary's Hospital in Kakamega was owed billions by SHA, and said that unlike when it was promised that it would be paid close to 90 million shillings, they had only been paid 9 million shillings. Honorable Speaker, that bishop unfortunately had to eat his own words 2 days after, when it became clear and evidence was tabled before the bishop that that hospital had been paid close to 90 million shillings by SHA, as had been said by the Prime Cabinet Secretary in that function, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, even as I plead to our religious leaders, Honorable Speaker, to verify things before they say them in public, to also appreciate that there are indeed monies that are owed by the defunct NHIF. And that is why it's important, as the committee has recommended, that we verify those bills that are payable, and those that are not real bills, they are notified that these are not payable so that they also stop accruing them in their books and waiting for payments that probably will never be paid. Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, Kenya Broadcasting Corporation and the Honorable Oudo spoke to it. KBC stands the potential of being a super rich public institution in this country. And it is true, many public broadcasting corporations around the world, even the BBC that the Honorable Oudo was alluding to, get support from government. And indeed, the Exchequer in the UK does support the British Broadcasting Corporation. But that, Honorable Speaker, does not mean that in this day and age, state corporations cannot reinvent themselves and work in a way that they become profitable institutions. And KBC stands that potential, Honorable Speaker. This is a very rich institution, Honorable Speaker. If you look at the land resources that KBC holds, right here in Karen, between Karen and Gong, around Kirarapon, KBC has land, I think, is close to 100 acres. Go to Mombasa, Jomvu, Kisauni. They have prime land, Honorable Speaker, that can be utilized to make sure that they're able to settle their debts, and they are able to function and modernize their broadcasting facilities so that they're able to compete with other private sector players in the broadcast industry, Honorable Speaker. Again, we must challenge them, Honorable Speaker, in this day and age. They must be more innovative than they have been. I can see now at least they have been able to upgrade a bit of their resources, especially around live broadcasting, but also to take advantage of programs like they did with Chan. Honorable Speaker, those who were following the Chan competitions know that in this region, whether it was Uganda, whether it was Tanzania, there is nowhere else that sponsors, and Total Energies can confirm this, where there was such good positive vibe and marketing than in the Republic of Kenya. And even the participation of our fans in patronizing our stadia, in cheering the teams that were playing, in the marketing and promotional services that were being aired on TVs, Honorable Speaker, there was no better place than in Kenya. And that portends the potential that KBC holds, that even as we look forward to AFCON later next year, Honorable Speaker, that they will take advantage and ensure that they have broadcast rights for AFCON and be able to auction those broadcast rights to many other broadcasters around the world and make money, Honorable Speaker. And even the World Cup, Honorable Speaker, there is no reason why KBC cannot get auction rights for broadcasting World Cup and other sporting activities, even the recent International Athletics World Championships, Honorable Speaker. These are opportunities that KBC can take advantage of and make sure that they stand strong as a profitable state corporation that will give us dividends in the near future. And I wish them well, Honorable Speaker. And let me conclude by thanking the chair, Honorable Angwe, because he has churned out a number of reports within a very short time when he has been chair of this committee, and we can see that we are now coming up to speed in consideration of many audited reports. And I want to encourage all the other oversight committees to follow the example that the Honorable Angwe has set out in ensuring that you not only consider and invite people to room 8 and room 9 up here, but also ensure that you table reports for adoption and consideration by the House. And I hope, as I have mentioned, that the Committee on Implementation will immediately, upon adoption of these reports, follow up on the issues that have been raised by this committee to ensure that we hold to account those who pilfer public resources, those who misuse public resources, those who vary contracts up to 337% and waste public resources, Honorable Speaker. Then now pretend that they can hide behind politics, that they will have their day in court to answer on their misappropriation of public resources. With those many remarks, Honorable Speaker, I beg to support. Thank you.
Very well. Before I give the next opportunity, allow me to recognize, still in the Speaker's gallery, the second group from Ruby Craft Adventist School, Karachuonyo constituency in Homa Bay County. You're welcome to observe the proceedings of the House. Honorable Member for Bomet, are you on this one? No. Honorable Mutuse Ekomas, not on this one. Honorable Nikal.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as I rise to support this report, I only want to make one point, and it is the point on land. Many institutions, not just those that are mentioned here, actually have their premises on land that they have occupied, and they're large tracts of land, and all of them do not have titles to this land. And what happens is that now people settle there, people make claims there, and this includes schools, police stations, and leave alone this. And in schools, you even find now people who had given land, their grandfathers had given land, are now coming to claim back the land. So for me, the one thing I would like the Committee on Implementation to really follow on from this report is the issue of land. All public institutions must regularize or must get titles for the lands on which their institutions stand. It's actually going to be a crisis that, like, look at the case of NHIF. Land that was there now has become a court case. And you look at KBC that we are saying, many pieces of land, again, they don't own them. And there's no way they can even utilize them to improve their finances and do everything. So mine, Madam Speaker, that is the issue. I've said it many times, but I don't see much being taken. If the institution can't do it, maybe the Ministry of Lands or the Land Commission should actually take up the matter and ensure that all public institutions have titles to the pieces of land that they own. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Member for Rarieda. Not on this one?
Madam Speaker, thank you. Madam Speaker, I rise to support this report by PIC on social services, administration, and agriculture. And I hope Honorable Wangwe will be listening. Madam Speaker, first of all, I think that this committee has tried. They have gone back over the years. And this is very important because these committees are time-bound. These reports are time-bound, and as long as they're outside of the time, they may be of no legal effect. I look particularly at page 3 in terms of the question of title deed. And Madam Speaker, this matter has recurred in many institutions. Even the judiciary at one time lost the courts in Eldoret to a grabber. And what it must take is a very ruthless, accounting officer, so that any public land that is taken, take it back, then we face the consequences. Madam Speaker, on page 4, about the question of, failing to provide audit documents, while I support the report, I urge the chairman and the committee next time to go further. Because failure to provide answers to the audit report is already unlawful. But now failure to provide them to the committee is also expressly unlawful. And there are measures that the committee can take, including surcharging the particular officer. So I'd urge that next time they go further. On page 5, the question of interest, I am totally in agreement with the committee that the accounting officers should ensure interest is surrendered within 7 days. And in this case, if they fail to surrender, then they should be surcharged. And this should send a message to accounting officers that you should not wait for the auditor to come, for the committee to sit over what you already know is the provision of the law. On page 7, I like the idea of the committee reprimanding the particular officer in that particular place, the one who was in charge of HR. But that now brings me to a different subject. Madam Speaker, I think it is time, when we write this report, we abide by what the Constitution says. The Constitution says people must take personal responsibility for financial impropriety and for doing the wrong things. This idea of saying the accounting officer, the HR officer, does not make them feel the pinch. If it is Otiende Amolo, you should say Otiende Amolo, who was in charge at that time, should be surcharged, and you indicate the amount. If it is gross, you should be prepared to say that that particular officer, who you name, is unfit to hold public office or ought to be removed from public office. As long as you don't do that, they hide under the banner of a state department and they don't feel the pinch. Now, I realize that the committee has not done that here because this House had set a precedent. When in Park, about 5 or 4 years ago, we went ahead to name the officers. Some members of this House moved amendment and extracted their name. We should support these committees. We should not diminish them. Because when we diminish them, we are diminishing ourselves. I think it is important that we now start naming the officers. Where it is gross, we say they are unfit to hold public office, we surcharge them within a time frame. And beyond that, Madam Speaker, I think we should have the chair of budget to start looking at these reports. Some of these departments that are grossly mismanaging public resources should suffer the consequence of budget cuts, because otherwise they feel nothing. All these reports just become idle. Madam Speaker, I support this committee. I support that we support all the PIC and the PACs in this House. When their reports are brought, if we must amend, let's amend to strengthen them, not to weaken them. Madam Speaker, I support. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I agree with you. There must be a point of meeting between the audit committees and the departmental committees, because the departmental committees are the ones that deal with the budget, but these reports should be available when that process is happening. The next chance, Honorable Mutuse, are you ready now on this?